everyone, it's your girl, Dr. Tomi, better known as Omo-Oba. So welcome to the Wellness Wahala podcast. For those of you tuning in for the first time, Wahala means issues and problems in Nigerian Pidgin English. So we go talk about current affairs, Wahala, how to avoid them, how to overcome some because some are unavoidable. We go tell you about public health wellness tips. But today, the tables have turned. I'm not interviewing a guest.
So, yes.
I'm being interviewed because many people don't know about me, my background, and why I even started the Wellness and Wahala podcast. And I have a special giveaway at the end. So over to you, my host today, who will be asking me all of the questions.
Hello, everybody. Say, I don't see me. I know everybody talk about Tomi, Dr. Tomi, Dr.
Tomi, Omo-Oba.
Let me get it right, Dr. Tomi.
Yes,
Omo-Oba, aka Omo-Oba.
Yes.
So everybody, who be this Dr. Tomi Omo-Oba? I want to know.
You should Google me now.
I want to know who be this Dr. Tomi. So for everybody in the house who want to know more about her, today is the right perfect day.
Today. I know, go escape. Hey, okay, no wahala.
So I just wonder. So let's know more about you, Dr. Tomi.
Okay.
So please, I beg, may you now just introduce yourself and tell us, just little things about your education, background, experiences. I know, so you don't work tire.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna be here all day, but I gonna keep it short and sweet. I have 3 degrees, so I have a bachelor's of science in community health from University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana. Shout out to my U of I people. I'm also the founder of the African Cultural Association, the African Student Union, and actually this year is the 20th anniversary of ACA, and unfortunately due to the pandemic we could not celebrate, but it's postponed. We go celebrate in the future, so shout out to my ACA U of I folks. I also have a master's in public health from Emory University in Atlanta. ATL is my second home. And I also have a doctorate of public health. I graduated last year from Capella University in Minnesota. I was able to do the distance learning online program as I worked overseas. So for the past almost 2 decades, I've been working overseas in across Africa. So from Nigeria to Ghana to Kenya to South Africa to Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou to Dakar, Senegal. I don't walk
20
out.
countries. We'll be Nigeria.
Plenty countries. My last post was in Kingston, Jamaica, and I was the Deputy PEPFAR Coordinator, which is the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief. So it's a top presidential program tackling HIV and TB, which are the top 2 infectious global diseases, public health diseases. And I was in charge of the entire Caribbean program under the State Department as the Deputy Coordinator. And Jamaica, Kingston was the hub. And then we were also in Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana and a few other countries. So I have been blessed to work both here in the U.S. and in Africa and in the Caribbean region. And I have been able to contribute to save lives. What I do is not a career for me, is what I love. So thank you, sir. That's just a brief overview. I'm humble. At the end of the day, I like to be called a good and faithful servant. Serve, show love. That's who I be.
I'm a small thing, So I want to ask you. So why do you choose your your career? I mean, what inspired you to because it's not what you did is not your experiences overall. I'm just amazed. So overall, like what is behind this?
Great. So a lot of people ask me that question because I was born and raised in Chicago, Chi-Town, and being a first generational American. So my parents migrated to America. So they were on scholarships by the federal government. They both worked at the ministry. My mom worked in the Ministry of Education as the chief catering officer, and my dad, he worked in the Ministry of Mice and Power. He was on scholarship. He came to the University of Illinois to get his engineering degree, and he did not go back. He wanted us to have the opportunity. He had all of us here to be able to have access to, better education and livelihood. When I was in college, my first degree, I actually went to school for engineering. Many people don't know computer engineering and computer science. I still like the power of technology, you know, so I still infuse that into my public health work, health communications. I've done a lot of work putting together presentations and infographics and webinars, online webinars and trainings. So I like that aspect and designing websites and social media posters and IEC materials, information, educational, communication tools for public health. But I was like, you know, I want to do something where I'll be able to touch lives. So that year, I talked to my counselor. My mom lost her brother in Nigeria from tuberculosis, TB. And I was like, wait, and my mom was like, TB is preventable, you know, there's drugs for it. And so many people, why does people, so that ignited my fire and thirst to learn more. Like, why do people die from preventable illnesses, you know? So we are very blessed here in America. We have access to good health care, the technology, the resources. And, you know, even though there's a lot of health disparities and gaps, you know, and racism and prejudice,
of course not,
and things that exist here too, that also hinder a lot of minorities from accessing the best health care. And I'll talk about that later on, about health disparities. But I really wanted to learn more. I said, okay, why are people dying of preventable illnesses, you know? So that's what spurred me into taking an elective in public health. I loved it. And I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. And I changed my major. I had to take summer classes, you know, because I changed like after my sophomore year. So I said, okay, if I need to graduate on time, I now, you know, came back and did summer school at South Suburban College and transferred my credit at U of I. So I took like the maximum credit. It was like 18 hours or whatever. Like I did all I can do while being the founder of ACA, being active, you know, and then also working at McKinley Health Center, thanks to my mentor, Dr. Emeka Jerio, McKinley Health Center at the University of Illinois. I was working at the health center. I was also a tutor, you know, off campus. So I've done a lot.
Now what was it, doctor?
I got into public health, you know, to really help save lives, and especially specifically from preventable disease, and to really touch people that are most at risk and vulnerable, that don't have access to the information and the resources they need to stay healthy.
So another question would be like, so what do you love about your job? Because I see passion. I didn't just hear it. I see passion, and I don't. So make you tell us now.
Well, what I love the best is knowing that I'm making an impact. Most of the work that I do is behind the scenes. So I've done field epidemiology work. I've done work where I'll go out for polio immunization campaigns, and we'll go door to door to churches, to mosques, and, you know, we go into rural areas. We have to take the canoe, the boat, to make sure that we vaccinate people of polio, which is a preventable illness. And polio has been eradicated in every country in the world, except I used to call it the 4 countries that were left then. When I first started my career, I call it the pain countries. So Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, and Nigeria, PAIN. India was able to eradicate polio, and Pakistan and Afghanistan, Nigeria, what they have in common is because of the insecurity, the terrorism, like in northern Nigeria, that's where we're actually having the problem of eradicating polio. And even where I did my dissertation on polio eradication in Nigeria, and how we can partner with like the defense agency. So the department, you know, Ministry of Defense, every military corps, they have a health corps. You know, they have public health people, but they're armed. So they're the ones that can go and work with like the UN troops at the IDP camps, which is the internally displaced camps, to make sure that they train, you know, the caregivers in that camp to give out the polio vaccine, because polio vaccines are not intravenous. You don't need a needle. It's like taking Tylenol or Panadol there. So you just train them on how to, you know, take how many drops and Otiton. So really like thinking out of the box on how we can be able to share information to help people save their lives, because a lot of the thing is access to information.
Because me want to ask you, what are the challenges? But you already mentioned those. Any other challenges you face on the field? Because you're out there. I know how difficult that can be.
Yes, many challenges. So sometimes you're in places where they don't have clean running water. And the electricity, NEPA, taking light all the time. And I would say another challenge is language barriers. So if I'm in like the northern part of Nigeria, like I know Pidgin English and broken English, but like I don't know Hausa or Fulani. And I think like the best way to be able to communicate is to have people there. So I work closely with the community health extension workers that are from that village. I work closely with the nurse, practitioners, the public health professionals and epidemiologists that are there, and the people at the local state Ministry of Health officials and federal Ministry of Health officials. So if I'm going to a certain state, I'm going along with colleagues that are from that community. You understand? So they'll be able to translate, and they'll be able to communicate to the target population. Also, I tell people, when you're in Rome, act like a Roman. You understand? So I don't go into communities. I'm not flashy like, yo, this is the American chick, what I'm saying, from my no, I'm very humble. I wear my native. Nobody gonna know that I date foreigner unless I talk, and then they hear my accent, and they say, Oyinbo lady, don't they come? You understand? But other than that, like, the challenges, I don't really see it as a big challenge, because of course I was blessed. The organizations that I worked with, they took care of us, so even in the most rural villages, we'll be put up in a hotel. It might not be a 5-star hotel, but I go manage. You understand? There's people that don't have any of that. They don't have a roof over their head. So in any situation, my goal is I'm there to serve and to save lives. So when you're focused on the goal, the hardships, and the comforts, and it just makes me think about like all the blessings that we don't think about here. We just turn on the switch, there's a light. You don't have to start praying. Like my prayer point changed when I go to certain countries. My prayer point be like
NEPA bring light to
NEPA bring water to the water borehole. The water, people can just turn off the light. So the prayer is like, oh, let the borehole work. So let there not be any problem where I have to fetch water. So and just in case there's a water problem, you always have to have like standing drums in your house. So you have to fill water when there is water. So when they take water, then you have to boil it,
She pray say, I beg, go and make the mosquito baka go under control.
So yeah, and wearing malaria, having to sleep under malaria bed nets, things that you don't have to think about here. We're very blessed.
So what is the best thing about your job? Or one of the best things?
One of the best things that I love about my job is traveling, meeting new people from different cultures. I have friends everywhere that I have worked, whether it's from Dakar to Kenya to Ethiopia to South Africa. All the countries that I have worked, those colleagues in Ghana, like those colleagues of mine, they were not just colleagues. Like we become like lifelong friends.
You don't chop for food tire.
I like food though. Any country I go, I must taste the food. I must go to their local markets. I like to buy, their native, like South Africa. They have really nice coral beads. Different places have different things that are specific to their nation. So I like to shop and I like to chop. So food. So that's the way to my heart. If you want to get to me, take me shopping.
So I think I don't ask you this question. Who inspired you?
I would say, like, personally, who inspired me once again was my mom and her brother passing away. And I actually am like the first of like my family and my generation of like friends that I grew up with in the Chicago area to actually go back home. So many of our people that were like born in Nigeria and then they came here when they were a young age or older is different than they go back home. But I was born and raised here, so I actually got a lot of kickback from a lot of my Nigerians and Africans. That you're in America, you have a really good job. Why would you go back and suffer? No, I didn't suffer. I still got paid very well. Those agencies that I got paid in dollars. I worked for also a British, NGO, humanitarian. They paid me in pounds. They took care of housing. You get cost of living allowances. You get danger pay. If I'm in danger, I'm gonna get them bonuses. You know what I'm saying? So there's some good perks that comes to serving and doing humanitarian or becoming a diplomat or being an expatriate. But you also put your life in danger. Like there's a lot of times where I've been, in situations that it was just God that saved me. Let me just put it like that. So being on local airlines, like there was one time when I took Chachangi or Sosolisa airline, and like the next day, that was when they had that plane crash. And I'm telling you, like that plane, like when I was on it, it was like a downfall bus. I was like, yo, like I would never get on this plane again. So I was not shocked, like, you know what I'm saying, the next day, like that plane crashed. So I'm like, Jesus, I'm like, thank God that wasn't me. So, we don't have a good airline. We don't have a Nigerian Airways in Nigeria. We don't have a good airline. Even within the West Africa, it's very, very hard to travel within West Africa. To go, like when I had to work in Burkina Faso, I left Abuja on the first flight, 7 a.m., from Abuja to Lagos, and switch planes from Lagos to Lomé, Togo, switch planes again. I don't even know where else we saw. I didn't get to Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou until like midnight. This is something that should be a 45 minutes flight, 1 hour latest if it was a direct flight. So like things like that is what frustrates me when I'm in those type of situations, or we're traveling by road. There's a lot of potholes. And just, if you're in a diplomatic vehicle, they don't stop you, police check or whatever. But still, like, it's just very frustrating. Traffic, like unnecessary traffic, and just those type of things. But other than that, it's keeping focus on why am I here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here to save lives. There's some things, that... I wish would be better, So there's no Delta, United, local planes. So somebody, look, that's a problem in West Africa. So to my aviation engineers, my aviation people, you guys need to come up with a good airline for Nigeria and West Africa. Ethiopian Airlines, actually in Africa, I can actually rank like all the airlines that I have been on who are the best. Ethiopian Airlines is by far number one, the best. They're actually connected with the Delta SkyMail Sky Team. So if you're on their frequent flyer, you actually get points, and their service is superb. I also like South African Airlines. Is pretty good. The best airline in the world that I have been on, I've traveled, I won't put even American or Delta Airlines as number one. My best airline I've been on was Emirates, to United Arab Emirates to Dubai. I would say it's like the number one, the Boeing 77. The economy class is like you in business class. Voila. Their service.
Maybe not Kakena Pepe airline we get for.
Now this one, if we want to imitate anybody, like Dubai got their independence in 1960, Nigeria. So I don't understand. Now, a lot of Nigerians go to Dubai to spend money. They like Nigerians. We help build that economy. Anyways, that's for another day.
One serious question I want to know is how do you maintain your work-life balance? Like, how do you try to put your work, your personal life, everything? Because once you travel, and it's not like for 1 day or two. You'll be gone for like days,
sometimes
weeks,
months. Yeah.
So how do you manage to do all of that to be far from your family sometimes?
Yeah, so if it's like short-term trips and work trips, we call them TDYs, temporary duty, and sometimes longer. So situations where I have to go longer, I usually take my daughter with me. When I was based in Nigeria, my support system there, I had a nanny, I had a driver. We lived a good life, but I would say when I'm back stateside and I have to do a lot of travel overseas or domestically, I thank God it takes a village. So like my work-life balance, if I didn't have great sisters, shout out to Toyin, shout out to TT, shout out to my mom, and just
great women's.
Just great winners, those are stunners, and shout out to my daughter, my princess. Like those are my motivator, especially my daughter. Like my daughter is the one that keeps me focused, when things get really hard, because my job is not easy. And now we're in the middle of pandemic. Many people didn't know public health, but now with this COVID-19, they're gonna understand the importance of public health, frontline workers, epidemiologists, scientists, health communication specialists. Like all of us have always been working behind the scenes to keep the whole world safe, but we never got the credit. So at least now in this pandemic, that's a good thing. But it's really to have a strong village and work-life balance. Like you need to take time for vacation. Like I take my leave. Like I'm not like other people that I'm gonna be overworked. No, if you're entitled to leave, you need to take your leave. You should not drain yourself, because the work that we do is very stressful. So when it's time to take leave, take leave. Like my last leave, it was short. I think Memorial Day weekend, me and my sisters and my daughter, we went to Puerto Rico. People, you went out of the country. I said Puerto Rico's in America. The ignorance. So, I mean, there's so many places within even the U.S. Virgin Islands, like St. Croix. Like my uncle, he's there. Like there's places that you can explore in America, and you would just have like a really good time. So self-care is key. Have a vacation. If you can't have time to travel, do a stay vacation. You know what I'm saying? Just check into a hotel for like 2 days. Mm-hmm. Take care of yourself. Go to a spa. Get a good massage. You know what I'm saying? And take care of yourself. Listen to some good music. I love Afrobeat. I love all types of music. Like you can give me, country. You can give me Afro beats. Just give me something that sounds good. Exercise is good to stay balanced, and light the candles. Watch some good movies, Netflix, and chill. And that's how I try to maintain my work-life balance. I'm more of a homebody. I like going out and partying, but I'm more like I did a lot of that when I was in college, so I'm cool.
Dr. Tomi, Omo-Oba. So just tell us something that we don't know about you. That you want people to know. I mean, just something that just give us just something.
So
we want to know. We want to know you deep inside. We want to know you.
No wahala. So I will tell you guys something, a secret that many people don't know. So many people look at my lifestyle and they say, that this girl is very blessed, and I have been, and I'm humbled to have worked across 3 different regions and in many countries, and met so many people, and been able to work for great programs that have really saved lives. But like when I say I have arrived, yes. Is like my overall goal is to one day be like an ambassador, like a top diplomat, or and that's, it can be here in the U.S. or even an advisor to the African Union, on health matters, on public health issues, or to Nigeria, the Minister of Health or ECOWAS. But at that level of, I want to be able to develop our own sector and ministry that deals with diaspora affairs, because I believe that we have a lot of brain drain. We have a lot of brilliant Nigerians and Africans here in the diaspora, here in America, doing great things, but we need to make the link, and we need to be a lifeline to be able to go back and rebuild Africa and rebuild Nigeria, like Nehemiah, in the Bible, that went back to rebuild, for the Israelites, that, their country was in ruin, and he was able to get permission from the king to rebuild. So, my dream would be to lead that diaspora affairs ministry as a top diplomat, because at a political sphere, when you work in the private sector, you only can make a limited impact. When you work in the political sector in government, you can make a higher impact. You'll make a global impact. You'll go to places where if I didn't work for the places that I've worked in agencies, I would never have had that opportunity. So that would be like something that people don't know about me, that in every situation I'm content, and I don't look at it as a title. I try to tell people, don't compete, because you have your own unique fingerprint, your own unique destiny for which God has created you, your own talent for such a time as this. So don't be looking at somebody else because you have lost it. They have their own destiny and talent, and you're supposed to use your time, your talent, and your treasures to serve God and humanity. It's not about you. It's not about flashy things. A great eye-opener was when I lost my dad 7 years ago, and I was walking through, as a procession, and the people were dancing, and, we were going to his gravesite in Ikoyi Cemetery, and I'm like, Jesus. And I'm reading the different headstones, and it just says, basically, from sunrise, when you were born, and when you're going to die. You don't know when you were born, because even when your mama got pregnant, they give her...
When mama, they do the thing.
Yes, the doctor will give you an EDD, which is called estimated delivery date. Even the doctor not going to know when you go come, the time and the hour. It's only God. And nobody knows the time when you're going to go. But what you have control over is the now, when you're alive. The time that you spend now, how are you going to use? Everybody has a gift, but your gift is not for you. I've learned that, you know what I'm saying, through my career. My gift and my talent, my education and my experience is to be able to serve others, If people want to learn more, I've helped a lot of people, behind the scenes, get jobs in the field of public health, write recommendation letters, references, and just been a lifeline to try to help others. So that's what we're all here to do. We all supposed to be able to serve God, serve, the people in our families and our communities, just how we were out for this Project Hope and charity. And don't forget the people that are most vulnerable and our, the poor, the homeless, those people that are sick in the hospital, in prison. There's people, you go to a hospital, some people that can't pay a hospital bill. You have money. Don't be telling me that I have Bentley, I bought this car. No. If you want me to salute you, tell me, I pay for how many people's school fees. I sent how many people to college that they couldn't go to college. I pay for how many people's hospital bill, that could not afford, their treatment, their surgery. So that's how, what I'm saying, you are making a difference in your community. But buying how many, luxurious things, that is all vanity, because when you die, when I buried my dad, you can't take any of that with you. So at the end of the day, like going back to my original story of, burying my dad, and that was like the turning point of the eye opener in my life, that, we need to focus on what matters the most. And what matters the most to me is being able to help my family, my community, my nation, and using my time and talent and treasure to serve. At the end of my life, when I live alone by God's grace, I want to look back, and I want to be able to say, even this podcast, this podcast will continue to live on. So this is part of my legacy. So my daughter can be able to go back, and see, the type of the work that I've done and the type of people that I've met along the way. I've interviewed great celebrities. A lot of these people that I've interviewed on my podcast, I've known them through my work, and they're good friends. So I'm just been blessed.
Thank you, Dr. Tomi. So one more last question.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to take too much of your time, because I know say for you, she go talk, tell us everything. So one last question is, since you work in the healthcare, what can I say, sector. So here's one thing. So what if you were in charge, or if you have the power to change, to improve? What would that be? Like, what kind of improvement do you think
in the healthcare?
In the healthcare,
the field of public health and in healthcare in general, there's a lot of things to fix. So I know be good. I can't fix everything, but the main thing I will focus on is tackling health disparities, and also diversity and inclusion. So when it comes to health disparities, one of the key tips that I can give you guys to avoid a lot of wahalas now. So a lot of my physicians, So whether it be my daughter's pediatrician, whether it be my gynecologist, my general practitioner, my family physician, they're people that I know. You know what I'm saying? These are doctors that I know for sure that will have my back. So let me give you an example. Like, my uncle is a dentist. He referred us to our family physician, Dr. Shomade. Shout out to him. Also, I looked up on children's healthcare. I wanted a pediatrician that was connected to a children's hospital here in Atlanta, and that is certified. So it's not all pediatricians that have they have extra certifications that they have to do as a physician. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you can be a basic physician, then you have, other physicians under the American Pediatric Association, AMA, and so forth, and just experience with children. So Dr. Susan Oyetunde, she's one of the best pediatricians here in Chicago. She was trained in South America. She speaks fluent Spanish. Actually, most of her patients are Spanish speakers. But she is the best. So even when I work overseas, she has done a lot of telehealth for me, meaning that I'm overseas, I'm with my daughter, she's sick, and she will be able to help me, and I'll say, oh, we took her to the hospital, I'm not still making headways, and she will be able to diagnose and say, okay, no, tell them to prescribe this, do that, and then my daughter will be good. You know what I'm saying? So you need to really tackle health disparities. You need to make sure that you get doctors that understand you. You see what I'm saying? So if I say I'm going to travel to Nigeria and I go to her, she will understand, oh yes, you need anti-malaria pills. But if I go to another doctor that don't even know nothing about malaria,
they don't nothing about malaria.
They won't be able to advise that. You see what I'm saying? So you need to be able to go to even when you go to the ER, if you feel that you're being treated bad, you should ask, or if you're from a specific culture and you're used to somebody that's French speaking, Italian, you speak multiple languages, you ask for a physician with your background, because more than likely, if you are attended by a doctor in your community, they're going to have your back more than any other race. So that's one of my first biggest tips to overcoming those type of wahalas. There's so many other issues that we need to address, but what can we do personally is that do your research. Make sure, ask for friends in your community. What doctor do you use? Ask for recommendations. Like all my doctors were recommended, or I researched and I said, and was referred, because and then even when they referred, you look up online. Do your Google search. You can look up, everything is posted online. It's transparent. So that would be like the thing and then diversity and inclusion. I love, Asians and Indians and whatever. When they get into an organization, they bring in their whole people. You know what I'm saying? So we need to be able to be a lifeline. And when you get into senior management, be able to bring in people from your community, you know what I'm saying, to also work as part of your team. And so that's what I would do.
Thank you, Dr. Tomi, aka Omo-Oba.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for your, just not be small thing. You don't tell us about. You say you don't waka go South Africa. You don't waka go Senegal. Place where my mama, papa never even go travel.
Ghana, everywhere.
So thank you very much for your time, and thank you for your, for the help tips that you give to us.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. So my people say you're not the year now. So one last question. So, if you want to locate you, contact you, if tomorrow if I wake up now, say I want to ask you one question now. How I go do them? I mean, what are the necessary things to do?
So please follow me on all social media, Facebook, IG, Instagram is at Wellness and Wahala, is the link. And then also all podcast outlets. So from Spotify to Anchor to Apple Podcasts to Google Podcasts, for all of you Android users. So all podcast platforms, you can follow Wellness and Wahala. So Wahala is Wahala, and of course Wellness. So that's how you can get in touch with me. And I have a special giveaway. So I know this is holiday season. So, to the person that likes, you have to like, all of my Wellness and Wahala Facebook, Instagram page. You have to write a comment. I want you to write a review, and you enter to win a chance to get my mom's Tomi cookbook. So Tomi is a wonderful Nigerian cookbook. It's right now on Amazon, but I'm giving away one Tomi cookbook for free this holiday season, so you get to cook some Nigerian food. So if you have, a spouse, or a boyfriend that, and he's African and you want to get to his heart, a good way to get to him and ginger him, his swagger, is to cook him some great food, especially jollof rice. Jollof rice is one of my favorite recipes, so you can start off with that. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tomi.
Thank you. Bless up. So I would like to leave everybody, at least I always like to leave everyone with an African proverb of the week. And one of my favorites is by President Nelson Mandela, which says, "It always seems impossible until it's done." So nothing is impossible without God. Otherwise, involved. All right. Bless up. Thank you.
Bye-bye.